Welcome everybody to another show of Javie's Light Show. Tonight is a very special night for me here at Northwest Community Television. I have two very special guests, and that is Dan and Yvonne Beeman, the host of the Polka Spotlight. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But I'm sure you've already seen it somewhere, right?
Hey.
It's the biggest show in Access, correct?
It is.
I think it is.
I think it is because the amount of fan mail you guys get. I mean, our basket out there gets filled, and we gotta have like a little cart to wheel it out to you guys. But I want to tell the audience, and let them know how fun and exciting it is to be a member here or volunteer. So at one point you guys were members and volunteers, but now you guys are the host of the Polka Spotlight. Can you tell them what ideas or what drove you guys to come in and become a family around here, a member, a volunteer? So.
Well, initially we thought we were going to do a show that was a ballroom dance show where we would teach people how to dance in their living room. And move that coffee table to the side, and we're going to show you a little waltz step or a little swing in your living room. But that idea kind of faltered a little bit, and then it ended up that someone needed a backup host for the Polka Spotlight show back in the late 90s.
Right.
And we thought, well, what the heck, we'll be the backup host. That seems a little easier, but we learned it was pretty tough because it was live TV. And then, of course, after having done that a few times, John Balajic called us up in 2009.
Yes.
And I happened to be unemployed at the time, and he said, Don, would you like to be the host of the show? And I'm thinking, well, I'm sitting at home unemployed.
What
the heck?
Going?
Sure, I'll do it. And so I called her up and I said, guess what I just volunteered us for? And so all of a sudden we're doing a live TV show, which we never thought we would be doing,
And it's been going strong for 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah,
5
really,
years,
yes,
that's right.
Really fun.
So technically 2010, correct?
Yeah.
And I think I started 2014 or so. I think way before. I'm not too sure. I don't know. It's all a blur now. It's all a blur. I'm having way too much fun, and I'm always, I'm the student manager here, so of course I got to see everything that's happening. But I mean, the amount of fans that you guys get, and the people who want to dance. I mean, you guys are celebrities to these people. And how do you take that? Like, they come to you, take photos with you. They don't take selfies because but they come, they have fun, but you guys always make it enjoyable. What are certain things that you guys like to do for them? Because you guys always give out like this really nice presents to everybody. So how do you guys get prepared for that?
Go ahead.
Well, we obviously want to take care of the dedications that come in through the song dedication line, and anybody who writes to us. I mean, we'll get fan mail from even a guy who's in prison in Bismarck, North Dakota will write to us and say, you are the highlight of my day. And it just gives us a great sense of peace and accomplishment that we can provide that to people. A lot of people are in nursing homes and they can't get out and dance, and so this is their only one spotlight where they can enjoy the show, and to be able to provide that to people is really a gift, we think. And
one of the special things that happens is the child will bring their aging parent to the show, and we always look for that special gift that they're giving by bringing them to the show, and we try to make it even more special by going up to that grandparent and taking pictures with them and
dancing with them.
That's right. And I always hear like at the very end of the show, like it's like, oh my God, I brought my mom here, and they just made her day, her year.
Well, they say it's on their bucket list.
Yeah, it's on the bucket list. And one of the volunteers brought their mom from far up north. I can't remember from where, but I was like, that sounds really far.
Yeah.
Here to watch the show because she watches it
in Fargo.
Out there,
Yes.
And it just completely made the year.
Yes.
And
it's pretty incredible that way.
It's incredible, especially how far these shows go.
Right.
I think John told me he gets letters from Europe and pretty much all over the world, really, because it is everywhere.
It's amazing.
It goes into 11 markets right now, as far as Jamestown, Bismarck, Hutchinson, Wilmer. It goes out to Connecticut.
Right.
And it just happens that the show spreads out, and they call us to say, how can we get that show? and we send them a DVD, and now it's, of course, going electronically to them. But the fans it's the one bright spot in their day that brings them up. It's uplifting music. It's music they grew up with.
True. It's kind of along the lines of a Lawrence Welk show format that we use, where the hosts dance with various people that are in the audience, and so we like to be able to do that as well. And one part of it is, I know that we couldn't do it without the crew that we have.
Oh, of course.
They're all volunteers as well, but I mean, the camera people, the sound, people running the graphics, our director. It's an incredible bunch of people who are very dedicated to the cause of making the show great.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's huge.
Exactly, it's really huge. I mean, especially when someone takes out their whole Saturday out for this.
Yes.
It shows you how much, appreciation people give to what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a sense of fulfillment, I think,
exactly.
for them.
And you really have to appreciate everybody that does that.
Most definitely. Yeah. We're all volunteers. So.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think they all know someone who watches the show, and they're doing it for those people that they know.
Yeah.
And that one bright spot of that uplifting music is really what I think keeps us going too, that we can get a person in a nursing home to have a nice lunch that day and hear a song from their childhood, like Apples, Peaches, Pumpkin Pie, or the Beer Barrel Polka. I mean, how can you not smile when you hear the Beer Barrel Polka? Really.
Well, and it's funny because kids of seniors will call us and say, I can't even get a hold of my parent during the time that your show is on. They don't want to answer the phone. They don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to watch the show.
It's a really fun and exciting show. I mean, everybody that comes in and they dance, they're also celebrities to people watching it. It's like people they're like, oh, I used to watch this show at home. Yeah. But I was like, what are you doing now? I was like, oh, I dance here like every Saturday, for the show. Right. And I was like, people come in, I was like, oh, I've seen them on TV.
Yeah.
I was like, I see them like almost every Saturdays when they're here. But it's something that people enjoy doing. And I'm sure you guys enjoy doing this. I mean, you guys have been doing it for 5 years. And the show has been going on for how long now?
For 20 years, actually.
For 20 years.
We have had such a great response to. We had no idea the impact that the show has and how far-reaching it is to, people of all ages. And so that's what's a really wonderful benefit that we had no idea and didn't anticipate when we first signed up.
Yeah, there are moms that watch the show every day at noon. And they jump around the living room with their baby. And then when the show's over, they go, oh, it's nap time. And they put the baby to bed, and then they get a break. And then there are seniors that watch the show. And
maybe it's nap time for them afterwards.
You never know. It's probably true. It's a lot of movement.
It is,
And when people come in, we have the doors always open for whoever comes in and have a good time.
Yeah.
But when they come out of here, they're like sweating. They have it looks like they ran 5 miles.
Yes.
And, last time I stood there for maybe 20 minutes straight. I was working.
Sure enough.
I was working. But I was
really, he was working.
But it's a lot of I've never danced polka.
Okay.
But it looks really confusing to me, and it's a lot of you're going
a lot of energy.
And around.
Yeah.
And and it's fun because you're switching where the partner is, and you're just having a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what dancing's all about.
Exactly,
is
having
really
a
good time. Yeah.
And so talking about polka, after doing all this stuff, what would you tell the volunteers or the people who are watching this for the first time? Like, oh my God, Dan and Yvonne, they're on a different show. What would you tell them? What would you tell them, if they were planning to become members of volunteers? What would be the words of advice you would tell them? Is it tough being here? Is it exciting and fun? Mm-hmm. What is it to you guys that make you guys come in every Saturdays for your show?
Good question. I guess more than anything, if you have a little nugget of an idea and you always thought, I should do a show. My brother, for instance, he was a rugby player. He's a big guy, about 300 pounds. He decided he knew everything about rugby that there ever was. Right. So he decided he was going to make a rugby show. He called it Minnesota Rugby Today. You would have never thought that he would do it, but he loved to do play-by-play. So he'd take the camera gear out to the rugby field and talk all about the scrum and all the different things that are happening. And So whatever your passion is, I think the volunteer should know if you have a passion, either be in front of the camera and tell your story, whether it's a children's show or something else, or if it's going to be behind the camera and just run a camera, that's fun too.
Yeah.
The first time I was up here, I learned to run the camera. And I'll tell you a funny story. There was a guy doing a comedy show, stand-up comedy show, and he had a big fish, and the two comedians were throwing this fish back and forth to each other in the studio.
Yeah.
And I was running the camera, and we could hardly hold the camera without jiggling it because we were laughing so hard, and because it's like laughing in church,
Yeah, of course.
By the time they were all done, there were fish parts all over the floor, everywhere in the studio. So that was one of my first experiences with running the camera up here. It was when the fish was, they'd throw little pieces back and forth, and it was something else.
But it's really a ton of fun, and
Yeah.
the staff here is great, and again, the people who help volunteer are just, it's a close-knit family kind of unit that you can rely on these people, depend on them, and have fun doing it.
Yeah.
It really is incredible.
Exactly. And it's all about having fun.
Yeah.
And you guys, I think you guys said that you've never hosted before this.
Right, we had
Never
that.
have?
Yeah.
So how did you prepare for this?
Well, the key to being in front of the camera is to have a lot of preparedness, because that's what makes you nervous. If you're unprepared, now you're going to be jittery. But if you do a little homework, know exactly what you're going to say, there's really nothing left to be nervous about. And it's just.
And Dan, in our show, Dan does a lot of the band interviews, and so he'll come up with questions in advance, usually, to talk with the band about interesting tidbits or things that you might not know about the band, which make for great TV and usually interesting stories. And then, we just plan to interview a couple different people as the show goes along, or if they have special dedications, things like that. That helps, and we kind of use the same format each time, so that we kind of know what we want to say with each show, and just try to keep it as light and lively as possible.
That's some really good ideas.
Yeah.
I would have to write those ideas down for next time. Of course, I did my homework.
Yeah.
I could see that.
That's a little scribble.
Very good, Javi.
So, and I know you have something for us today. Would you like to read this?
Oh, it's just a gal that had passed away. Her name is Jen Meisner, and she and her husband used to run a ballroom down in Mendota Heights area, and
Called the
Majestic Ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
And she just has, after her place had closed, they would also tune into Polka Spotlight. And one quote that she would say is that she would dance the whole hour. That was her exercise, and it rings true for many people, whether young or old. They love watching the show, and if they can get up and dance and partake in the old-time waltz music or the polka music, more power to them. But it provides an outlet for so many.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And I told you guys, I think we have a little bit left. I can't really see it because of my glasses, but we have a little bit left. I took dancing lessons. I took one class, but it's the toughest thing I've ever done.
Good job.
Toughest thing I've ever done.
You going to show us a few steps here now?
Oh, I wish. Maybe in the Polka Spotlight.
There, you'll have to
I will
come.
probably,
Yes.
Good for you.
give it
Bring
a
your
try.
fiance.
Yeah, I'll
Yes,
definitely have my
yes,
fiance
yes.
as a audience
Congratulations.
here today,
That's
so, yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know I think we're at 10 seconds, but
Okay.
thank you for being here.
Yeah,
with me
this
today.
was a ton of
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't know what I would do without you guys, especially on Saturdays, because I know you guys bring donuts. And I was like, I smell donuts. Oh, they're here. They're here. The show's going to start. So I really thank you for you guys for
You
being here
bet.
tonight. So,
Thank you for having us.
thank you.
This
So,
worked out great.
this is the Javie's Late Show. If you're ever interested in coming in, checking it out, please give us a call at 763-278-4330 or email us at nwct.org. That's the website. I'll put it up later. So thank you. Bye. Enjoy your night. So.
All right.
Hi, I'm Dan,
And I'm Yvonne.
and we're from Plymouth.
Did you know that as a resident of Plymouth, you have an all-access pass to Northwest Community Television? You can produce your own show or help other residents create theirs.
Well, being a part of the Polka Spotlight show gives us an opportunity to create our own show and have all kinds of fun. Most of all, we give back to the community by creating a show that you could compare to the Midwest version of the Lawrence Welk Show.
If it were not a part of the community like we have the advantage of through Northwest Community Television, it would be a huge disappointment in many people's lives. We just realized that it's such an outreach and it's a great thing for us to give back to people because there are so many who enjoy it on a daily basis.
Ready to produce your own TV show? Visit nwct.org. Get your all-access pass today.